So the first weapon retention technique we're going to use, it's my favorite. I use it as a sweep, as a submission. It goes into a straight arm lock, into a head and arm choke. In jiu-jitsu, it's called the kimura. So holsters are awesome. Retention holsters are even better. And but then having the technique to keep your gun. If you are going to carry a gun, you have to have the discipline and it's an implied responsibility that you have the technique to be able to keep your gun. So kimura is real simple. If they move something from your waist, your gun or your knife, you're going to do is lock that thing in place. So if he reaches for the gun, you're going to lock it exactly where it is. You're going to slam it down as hard as you can with all of your strength, because that's a really important thing. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to sit up as high as you can, bringing your chest up and over his arm. So I put my foot on the ground, I lean up, I kind of push off my elbow, I come all the way up, drape myself over his arm, and this hand slides underneath his tricep and his bicep, and it grabs your own wrist. Let me see that? So this hand comes just like the bump sweep, where I'd be going this way. Instead of bumping up and over, I get here, I can still bump sweep. That's awesome. I do bump sweep from here, and I keep the arm, and then I tear the arm off. So once we're here, I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to move my hips out. The most important thing about this, once you have this arm locked in, is to move your hips out. I kind of windshield my hips around, and I take this leg, and I put it over his back so he can't get away. Now, if he goes for your gun, he never gets to use this arm again. Ever. Right? I'm going to take this arm up and off, and here, I'm going to break his shoulder, then his elbow, his humerus will snap, and his radius and ulna will snap as I go around. I have done this to somebody before when they're trying to take something off of my body armor, and I broke their cheekbone, their jaw, most of the teeth on the same side of their face, their shoulder, their elbow, their wrist, and both of their forearm bones, the radius and the ulna, in about a half a second. So the action part is really violent. So as I get here and I pull his shoulder out this way and then up towards the back of his head, I'm keeping everything tight structurally in his arm. The looser this is, look how much movement there is in his arm, right? But if I get this really tight, and now I start, that's all there is, and there's the tap. So when I do this, I'm not going a slow application. I'm taking this right about here, and then I go, all the way past his head, pulling it out as hard as I can, and driving it up as hard as I can, and I'm going right back and controlling my gun. So here it is again. You lock it in place, same side. Push it down as hard as you can. If we have a retention holster, trust in it and drive it into that holster. Bring my chest up and over, arm laces through, lock your hands, sit back down. Now look at my hips. I'm kind of like beep, 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 shrimping. Shrimp my hip, shrimp my hip, shrimp my hip. Leg goes over the back, drops down so they can't hop out. Put pressure on the arm this way and then start driving the hand towards the back of the head. Now if this leg isn't here, he can just step or roll over. He's out and he's on top of me. If this foot isn't locking into the hip or locking into my own foot, he can just step on top of it here and then straighten his arm out and take my back. So it's important that both of these legs stay actively involved in me tearing his arm off. So as I get here and I start moving my hips out, I'm locking him in place with my feet and my legs to keep him in this position. Now as I do the submission, if he wants to roll over and go into the top and I get to ride with him, I'll do it, but I'm going to tear his arm off in the process.